It's very big, very open. So definitely something I will be looking forward to. As coastline games tend to be very interesting to see what teams can come up with, and yeah.
Yeah, I think with the coastline matches, they always kind of stand out as outliers in the set of all of these maps. Like you said, it's very open. You've got that massive skylight basically in the middle of the map that just allows the attackers to completely cut off rotations, and it can feel a bit well, it can feel a bit claustrophobic for defenders to play on that. But then Clubhouse, you've got a bit more kind of freedom, fluidity. Definitely an anchor favored map, I would say. You don't want to be sending too many players off site. It's very favored in terms of like turtling up. So two very different maps. And interestingly as well, Cafe with the final out of the three that could have been chosen from. And these three maps are definitely, I'd say, the more popular amongst the current map pool from what I've seen. I've very, very rarely seen any border or theme park Lucendi choosing both of those to go out. I don't think we've seen any theme park at all so far this season. Obviously, only 3 maps have been or 6 matches have been played. So
Yeah. I mean, theme park will be definitely later an odd pick, but I think right now, since it is very new, teams still need to really find a way on the map, still learn out the strats, how do we approach it and stuff like this. But yeah, I'm gonna be sure we're gonna see it way later sometime. But yeah, but on to a good start with Coastline, and it's gonna be for Timber to attack first and Lucendi to defend first. And obviously, we'll see with what BAMs they will come up with. Lucendi banning first. And it's going to be Hibana.
So we saw a Hibana ban recently in the Coastline game between Pats Asleep and London Esports, as well as in the Budapest 5 Envik game. And she seems to very rarely make her way through the ban phase in this league, at least on Coastline. And it does seem to be basically, I made the point on Friday, I'll make it again here. There's that one position that really can be hampered by Ivana, which is on a hookah defense, just defending by the sofa or in pink, and that alone is a reason to ban her out. But the rest of the bans come through. Capital, not a very surprising one. He can make He can make the map feel even smaller for defenders, and those smokes are also very useful in an execute. Echo and Mirror also your fairly standard bans on the defensive side. So it looks like our first defense is going to be on kitchen and service, which is definitely not the primary bomb site for a lot of teams. So Lucendi looking to already throw a wildcard into the mix here, potentially.
I mean, usually what we see first is a hookah defense, but starting out on kitchen, I think Lucendi shows a bit of like, yeah, we can throw them off, no problem. That shouldn't be a problem for us. But I'm quite interested to see a lion picked by Brainless here, because usually you tend not to see him, because it's kind of like you feel a bit like the dick trying to take the lion. It just play a bit dirty, but yeah, definitely I didn't have him on the list there. Put
Yeah,
up.
him in combination with the Nomad is going to be a very oppressive duo for the defenders, as if this map wasn't hard enough to sort of move around on. The line's going to lock you in place, and those air jabs, very effective at holding the flanks without even being present, really, and much harder to take out than a Claymore. And you get 3 of them, of course. So definitely going to be a tough defense here for Lucendi, but they've definitely brought the tools of their own, and we've seen Goyo rise in popularity throughout the season. He's going to be brought out here alongside a fairly intelligence high lineup, I would have to say. You've got the Pulse and the Valkyrie as well as a Mozzie, so there could be some well-timed aggression coming out from Lucendi. That would be my prediction for this round.
Indeed. And we're seeing right now Timber already pretty strong heavily going up on the roof and trying to also take control out of Penthouse. As it seems, drone coming in into Hall of Fame. Trying to clear out most of the stuff. Bathroom is clear, which can be really a pain in the ass if somebody is there and just peeks you up on the hatch. You're just really getting, it's just really painstaking. And now we can see the Buck, we see Exile clearing now, opening up first layer of the floor here in VIP, giving him the control to peek into kitchen safely from outside. Fluff and Core Roger already made the holes and already trying to find the first kills, but Sally though, nobody seems to be found in bathroom.
So that's a 1 of 3 C4s going out unsuccessfully, and I think we might have just heard another one as well, but this is definitely a part of the defense here, playing from beneath, and it's one of the only ways you'd really be able to make this site work for you, especially as a first choice. That looks like it might net the kill, but it doesn't. Carl Rogers somehow escaping the blast of that C4.
That tiny close!
I know, he was so close.
I mean, Xenox was prepared, like he knew he's gonna stand on the bed, so he just has to really throw it right between the bars to get it. And
I think
it
if
looks
anything,
like...
it went too high.
Oh. I think it's just Carl Rogers just managed to escape right in time, but Fluff getting spotted out. And just also really in a... And there he goes, Fluff got spotted out and got killed by Xenox, so the first kill out of this match. And Xenox follows it up with the second kill on Carl Roger. Now he does get him, but just later.
Yeah, those bullet holes really working in his favor now, and he gets a third on the round. Could he be on his way to an ace in the very first round of this matchup? We will see. It's the...
I mean, that would be a great start.
Yeah, it would be. It's the Nomad and the Lion left alive, and Lion's still held up outside. An air jab triggers elsewhere, but it doesn't sound like it was capitalized on. Still, full roster of defenders here is 30 seconds left, and this is pretty much round over for the attackers. And really, I just want to find out whether this Mozzie's going to get his 5-piece, and there's the quad. He very much could do this. Triggers the air jab. That was probably a premeditated one there to try and get it, and now everyone's diving out to try and get this round win. But yeah, Kicks are going to be the one to pick it up, denying the ace.
But yet again, a flawless round for Lucendi.
Yeah, that's a brilliant way to start your match.
Really showing quite big of dominance right here.
So right now the community poll is looking pretty good, right? 82% in favor. Yeah, well, if that round is anything to go by, but of course we've got the whole of the map and a second one to go, so we'll see how it pans out. It looks like we're going to be going to Blue Bar Sunrise Bar now, and a bit of a switch up in terms of the defender lineup. We've got the Smoke, Mute, and Castle being brought out, ditching all of those intel ops instead, now favoring a lot of delay. And this is going to be a very different round, I expect, from Lucendi. They were definitely playing fairly aggressive there. That was a great little hold on the top floor from Xenoxo, who had those bullet holes prepped. And it's a common position, but the bullet holes are definitely harder to see at range when you're dropping into bathroom, pushing into Hall of Fame, and say smaller than harder to spot than say a punch hole. And he wasn't punished for it. There was no one coming around to pinch him quickly enough. The Buck eventually managed to lose his life coming round into that area, and it just felt a little bit slow from Timber, really. There was no real attempt at refragging any of their losses, besides perhaps the first one, but that just went the way of the Mozzie twice. So perhaps sticking together a little bit better, leaning into the fact that that Lion can very much aid you in those kind of dual pushes or trio pushes, clearing out single areas at once, and making sure that you don't go down that far in terms of man count early on.
I mean, really well played from Xenox here, picking up one by one. Just really showed what he's able to do as a player individually, and I really must say, it's Timber is they're looking for an entrance, but they're not sure where to go yet. I mean, they're droning out definitely their few ways, but seem to be a bit scared of Lucendi. as we just seen right now with Carl Roger not really trying to enter in that service hallway. Exile trying to nade out Joker, but he's just gonna miss the grenade, and Joker's gonna stay alive perfectly with no damage or any harm done. And it's just for Xenox just to peek it out on that window. We see right now Fluff and Brainless taking Enter into Billiards and pretty going quick onto that. But the C4 from Qualdog is just gonna shut it down on Fluff. And just leaves him out right there. Brainless is just at least gonna get a refrag, and he's just gonna kill out Xenoxo. So at least their strong gun has been taken out. And we see Lucendi quite now on spot, just with Kixer right around here in security, and Joker still holding the position in service entrance, so they're very widespread out. They just wanted to make sure to hold really that horizontal line there.
Yeah,
and
they've
not
drawn
really
that.
go for any vertical.
They've drawn the line in the sand across lobby basically and kitchen, but with only 4 left on the board, their defense looks a little bit thin, and now as a third goes down, secured by Brainless, picking up his second kill on the round there, it might be time for these sort of extended roaming defenders to fall back, namely Luke TJ still holding in kitchen. He wants to keep that crossfire onto the hallway and use those smokes to deny sight. Oh, sorry, I got my operators mixed up. TJ's back in sight now. Joker's the one who needs to hold back. But yeah, he's still trying to hold that crossfire. Second canister goes out from TJ, and with 25 seconds left, this is fairly good economy. He can continue to deny that plant, but the vertical angle is being worked by Exile. We hear the final gas canister go off, and now plant can begin to go down pretty soon, but the cover has to be very effective from Timber. A great push down the stairs from Carl Roger, and he's immediately swept back down by Kixer, who gets a second, and the diffuser is being planted behind the bar, but the cover is there, and it's stuck, and it's successful, and that deployable shield working against the defense in this 2 versus 2, but Brainless has been down, so Valber left in a 1 versus 2. Kixer very lit, and Joker with a little bit of health missing as well, but he's trying to find that Nomad air jab, but it's triggered, and the reaction isn't quick enough, but he doesn't need to play this too aggressive. Albert just holding it passively, does take down one, and now it's effective 1 versus 1 with Brainless on the floor, and a fantastic clutch out on the round by Valber in that post plant, winning the 1v2, and a great push there from Timber, and they bring it to a level scoreline, 1-1.
Very well indeed played by Valber right here with the after plan, forcing Lucendi to push him or push for the defuse, and he just kept his cool, held that diffuser, and just was aware on the positions of everyone and secured it perfectly. And now we finally see Hookah gonna get played by Lucendi, and we're seeing right here Xenox and Kicks really pretty much right now the strong guns in the first 2 rounds here. And we still haven't seen any change from Timber in their attack lineup. So they're really enforcing onto that Lion.
Yeah, they really leaning into his ability here. It's a good choice for the map, I have to say. But I want to highlight Kix's play there. That was a fantastic prone position being held in kitchen hallway, just to deny that rush from Cool Vibe stage. He managed to find 2 very crucial kills, and actually gave his team a fighting chance in that round. It was a 4v2 for a moment before he picked up that double, but unfortunately couldn't secure that final kill against the Nomad in the post plant. So yeah, Kixer and Xenoxo, as you mentioned, definitely putting up the numbers right now. Early doors though, and so far it's been a fairly I don't think we can read too much into the stats after 2 rounds, but yeah, that was a lot stronger from Timber. They were much more convincing at holding up on their advantage, and they're quite efficient in that push, even though it was a very last-minute one. They got the plant down in the safest possible location. They had the coverage there, and the rush from Cool Vibes, even though it cost them 2 players, it was well timed enough that it forced the gunfights from the defenders, and it meant that the diffuser could go down.
Very well indeed. And we see right now Carl Roger crawling up into Surf's entrance, trying to find a long angle in case they're just gonna push him up. Joker wisely choosing not really to go in for that fight, but Fluff takes down quite a few HP right down here. And as the drone is coming out to spot anyone in the bathroom and drone out kitchen. So Joker sitting there on Cool Wipe stairs, pretty much holding it down for his team right there. Whilst Carl Roger is already pretty much having complete control out of kitchen, but that long angle, that peek to Kiksa, which he's finally gonna make the shot onto it, helps him to save the day and just makes for them Sunrise not really a viable threat anymore. So it's just now on Joker holding down that stairs. And we see Valba trying to pick up a wall bang, but not able to.
You can tell from the lineup here, it was something that we saw in the vertical play in the first round, that Timber are definitely prizing the vertical play. They want to take control beneath so that they have that advantage when it comes to the final push. And the last part of this is just clearing out this final defender in here, Xenoxo Pitemroni in hand. Needs to hold in this office position for as long as possible, but he's going to die to the crossfire, three-way crossfire there. Valve are going to be picking that up. And now Timber can turn their attention to the site.
Yeah, no, I think even believe 4. But yeah, just perfectly managed to squeeze him out, leaving it into a position where he just can't really find all of the kills. Axel is now having control down, but still gets a few nice visiting shots from Joker from Cool Wipe stairs right there. But that shouldn't bother him too much if he doesn't expose himself too much. Bulldog gets a kill on Brainless right there, taking out their Lion. And as he just also gets visits down from vertical, as we can see from Exile trying to hit the shots, same for Joker, but Joker's trying to clear out Exile, and he manages it. So the buck is downstairs, so they definitely lost their... Timber just lost their advantage for their plan to hold it later on, but with just a few seconds left, it's just a right or now to push. And TJ just holding Fluff off, and Bulldog finishing up with Carl Roger, and TJ putting out the last kill. There wasn't really much to do for them after losing Exile down there.
Yeah, that was perfectly defended by Timber there. They're taking the lead in this matchup, which now would throw that poll into question. But yeah, it's as soon as the Valkyrie got that kill onto the Buck downstairs, it was pretty much over. Exile holding a very important position to allow for that plant to go down, and even with the lower control, the lower floor control, it would have been a tough task with the Smoke and the Maestro still in very strong anchoring positions come the final 15 seconds. But with the extra presence of the Valkyrie downstairs, C4 coming off, it didn't actually get anyone, but you've got to imagine that delayed the plant again further, in addition to the smoke canisters and that suppressing fire from the outer, which we saw so much of through the wall. It was pretty much over at that point for the attackers. I get my teams mixed up constantly. TBR, this is the yeah, this is my issue. I just misread the board. So yeah, Lucendi going to be taking the lead there. Obviously, that was their defensive round win.
And as we see right here, Kitchen, again, they're gonna go for it, same as they did on the first time. No really major lineup changes. Strat looks just as planned, as worked out. Pointing out to be is actually Qualdog with that pulse in security, as he pretty much helped Noxo to really secure his 4 kills right there. Because with Qualdog downstairs with the pulse, just giving him that intel for those pushes, those entrances, really helped him as well right there. And I'm really hoping to see this time, hopefully see a repeat of a round like this to really show that teamwork makes the dream work. And as we see right now here, Exile trying to take a quick peek into it, but Xenoxa holding it down with his test drones, basically.
This is a great side of the map to be holding on to with the Mozzie. There's so many narrow doorways if you fall back through security that you definitely cannot drone out properly if those pests are positioned correctly. And he's holding it very aggressively, looking to burn as much time and possibly fall back, but he may have left it a little bit late as the rotate behind him is now a little bit of a risky one. So he might have to try and take this fight onto the Zafir instead. Expecting the flank as well from Blue Bar, but that's not something that Timber are doing. And he actually downs the Zafir and finishes him off. Impressive play there from Xenoxo and backs away without any consequences. So that's a complete win there for the defense. And he set his side off yet again in this kitchen defense on a very good start.
Very well done indeed. And we see Xenoxo now rotated up into Aqua, and it's just imagining Timber, you know, losing down onto this, on that office, on that one guy, and then you're pretty much faced with again your entry fragger down. You're losing that slight aggression right there, but Exile just is gonna revenge his fellow teammate by just killing Xenoxo.
Yeah, that was a quick reaction there from Exile. He must have known the general location of the Mozzie, but definitely did surprise him a little bit. I'm sure Xenoxo was even more surprised as this C4 comes out from Quadog and it does catch Exile. Well placed and well timed there from the Pulse. And that heartbeat scanner obviously doing the dirty work there. Quadog picking up a second.
Picking up a second, taking out Fluff right here.
Oh, it looks like he has the flank on the player in kitchen window, but Volba's actually managed to get his way inside the site with Diffuser. And if Brains can cover effectively, then he might actually be able to stick this down. The Lion Charge goes out, but the C4 being thrown, and that's going to get Valba and Joker finishing off with a run out onto Brainless. And Lucendi continue their very commanding kitchen defenses. We can really now see why this is actually their preferred bomb site.
Well, indeed. I mean, I'd like to point out that the use of the Lion, you know, I like the thought of just laying down that scan, just pretty much ensuring that you can plan. But the only issue is you're not getting punished if you move. I mean, your position is getting revealed, but just in case what we saw right now, if a C4 comes flying out, there's just really nothing you can do against it. You really have to actively hold him there. And
yeah, sorry, absolutely. It's one thing to hold the cross when you expect someone to maybe swing and take the shots onto the planter, but if you've got a C4 to deal with, then that EU1D just isn't going to cut it, really. I was expecting Brainless perhaps to be coming into cover potentially from Pink Bar. Obviously, there was a bit of defender presence there at that time, but that's the ideal location to be holding that cross as the plant goes down in kitchen window. It's not a very common plant spot because obviously kitchen's not your ideal planting site, really. You want to be planting in delivery most of the time. But yeah, if you are going for it, you definitely need at least Pink Bar control, if not Cool Vibes. And that's why it just makes it so difficult, especially with the numbers on the defense. They could just be holding from courtyard, really. And in the end, it was actually the C4 that did the work. But that's really why you don't see many kitchen plants going ahead. And it was pretty much just a last attempt, a bit of a desperate move in the 2 versus 4.
Indeed, really, Valve thought, maybe we can jump in, maybe we can go for the plant, but then again, it didn't really work out for them. But now with Lucendi going back to Blue Bar and Sunrise, it's just gonna be maybe we're gonna see Timber repeat what they've done in that one round again, and just maybe gonna secure it. Issue was in that last round that Qualok decided to go for peak, to really go for the mass here and try to pick up a kill, but ended up failing, pretty much showing up dead, and therefore just giving away Timber the full control of office. And just with that, they managed to go further into Blue Bar and managed to plant. Qualok's getting quietly squeezed in, but managed to get the kill on Fluff, but he's no chance on the vertical hole from Exile he just made right there. So they lose again office pretty quickly, and they also now got control above as well. So it's right now down really to Lucendi to either regain the control and rotate up, or just try to total it down. But after some time, there's gonna be holes everywhere. There's no place really to hide for them at all.
So Joker just holding back on that flank because he knows there are players in office and he can hear that air jab. So he's just trying to bait the fight into him and make sure that there has to be an attacker at least watching him. Because he can swing and take a long range gunfight. He just can't push through that corridor because of the placement of the air jab. Looks like he might be backing into lobby, which is probably the wise decision here. As he's almost in contact with the buck, and there we go. He lands the headshot. Kicks are getting one elsewhere as well, and that's the lion gone. Now it's 2 versus 4, but a swift refrag there from Carl Roger gives Timber some hope. 3 defenders left for Lucendi. It's a smoke and Goyo. First canister will come out from TJ. This is a deja vu of last time around. We got Valber once again, one of the last to survive. He'll be the one holding that diffuser, I believe, and looking to get it down behind the bar, but so much denial in place for Zenoxo. C4 comes sailing out, doesn't connect with anyone. They're doing a good job of baiting this utility, Tim, but that's the one thing they have on their side at the moment. 25 seconds left, and Stun comes out, and this is an ill-timed swing from Valve. He takes a bit of damage from range as Kixer can't quite finish him off, but there we go. Carl Roger being sat down, and now it looks like it might all be over for Timber. Valve finding one, those are not so going down. This prone peak could work out quite nicely, but he doesn't expect the prone in response from Kixer. And a great round from the Jaeger to solidify their lead and extend it to a 4-1 scoreline.
Timber baited out most of the utility, but paid basically with just a few ounces of their HP, and in the end, just taking down those gunfights, they didn't have enough really to support them, and just managing to ensure it. Very nice, I must say, very nice angle from Kixer right there, really taking advantage of that balcony and just securing their kill, and then dropping down to go prone and just finishing off Valber right there. Really very well played from him there. Really enjoyed that, and we're gonna see now Lucendi go to hookah and billiards again. And seems like Brainless got the idea that maybe the lion doesn't work out, so he just decided to switch on to the Kebi.
Yeah, another global op here, which again is a questionable move, but it could work massively in their favor this round, as we're seeing so much in the way of cameras and intel being brought by Lucendi. You've got the Mozzie, the Valkyrie, and the Maestro here, all being brought, and those calls, as well as the ability to potentially hack and punish an early extended roam from Lucendi, which is something that we have been seeing. That could really give them the intel that they need for later pushes with those cameras hacked. But also those calls definitely will be a much bigger tool in the execute when you have to worry about your surviving players. If any of them are on cams, they'll be immediately thrown off them and unable to access them. So it can be a very useful tool in the execute as well.
Actually, quite an interesting fact. Coastline tends to be very attacker-sided map. It's statistically, but we're not seeing really any signs of that.
Yeah, it's usually it usually favors the attackers. It's one of the only maps in the pool that does, which is personally why I quite like it in the pool, to be honest. But I think other people would disagree. Either way, yeah, it's definitely a defender-sided map that we're seeing right here. But that could just be down to Lucendi performing above and beyond at the moment. And if their reputation is anything to go by, it's something that the poll has definitely shown us. People were thinking that Lucendi might be able to pull this away. And aside from being a typically attacker-favored map, it's, I think, first and foremost a frag-heavy map. And if Lucendi are clearly showing that they can frag out, especially with performances like the first round from Zenoxu, that 4K, then I wouldn't be surprised to see it favor him. Run out coming out from Kixer here, and he almost finds Carl Roger, but is punished on the re-entry And that's instant karma for you there, Kixer, just getting completely swept under the rug. And now it's a 4 versus 5, and the defenders looking a little bit worse for wear.
Lucendi loosening up a bit, trying to go for these runouts and like just secure the kills, but didn't really pay out for him at all. We see Xenoxa still holding down Kitchen, just in order if they're gonna go for down, but rotates back up again to cool upstairs, and we see a few shots getting exchanged on the balcony, but nothing really too much important. Brainless and Valba are now going for the Aqua take. Oh, Joker. Is he gonna get him? Yes, he does.
That was close to a double as well. Valba taking a little bit of flak from that explosion.
Smoke coming out of TJ just to deny them a few more seconds. Brainless has the idea that it's gonna be a peek on that Sunrise window, but just managed to escape Valba killing through the drone hole. TJ. Oh, you should notice. This is gonna be painful. Love is sneaking right now in blue bar.
Joker's so close to detecting him as well here. Sounds like the plant is going down, but the C4 comes out and that denies it, but Xenoxa is traded off. And then the swing from the Valkyrie puts him in a very advantageous position in this final few moments. Exile, however, is going to clean up the last remaining anchor. And now it's all up to Joker to play this perfectly from beneath. The cover is coming through, but very cleverly, Plainless deciding to plant on the indestructible billiards table. And that's going to be a successful plant now, and Joker has to fight two attackers defending the diffuser now. Joker manages to find the kill onto Brainless as he tried to go for that hack. Ill judge, and he manages to get the quad on the round and the clutch. He's got plenty of time to find the diffuser and defuse it, disable it. That was an incredible one from Joker there. But my oh my, Brainless. Oh, what a ill-timed decision to go for the hack.
Just managed to just instantly just put Brainless away from the board, and just then having the fight with Exile, and boy, Exile had the angle. Like if Joker would have rotated up there really on co upstairs, it would be for Exile pretty much a straightforward kill. But ay. Very well played from Joker there, and again a 4K. We see it's a second 4K, I believe. We already seen from Lucendi.
So it looks like we are going to have... Oh, perhaps. Just waiting to see if there might be a rehost here. We're just making sure that there's no rehost so that we can go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about that round. It looks as though we are actually going to be having a rehost, so we're just going to throw back to break screen and have a quick chat about those rounds. So yeah, that was an interesting one from Timber, especially. It was their last chance to put a defensive round on the board. No, sorry, an attacking round on the board. And now with the split at 5-1, they've got to be racking together a lot of attacks. I cannot believe that did not succeed in the post plant. It looked like such a big brain play from the Dokkaebi to secure that plant and make sure that it couldn't be contested from below. But then just instantly flipping back and making the mistake of going for the hack in an exposed position. And yeah, I just think that going into the second half 4-2 would have given a lot more hope. But after that loss, after the way it happened as well, I can't honestly see Timber coming back from this.
It's gonna be a tricky one. If we're gonna see the pace what Lucendi just did right now on their defense, if they're just gonna transfer it over to attack, then it's gonna be a very, very hard time for Timber right there. Because man, just seeing just how individuals like Xenox and like Kicks are really putting down the work down there, and just really ensuring that these 4Ks and 3Ks are just flying out of there. Their barrels is just outstanding. And seeing that this map is really attacker-sided favorite, it's just gonna be. I think it should be for these two guys. Should be just a blast to go through them. So I would say I'm expecting their maybe two entry fraggers, really showing maybe an Ash and a Sophia, both of them, and just trying to sweep through everything. But for Timber, it's really now important to see how to say to show for them that they are able to fight. They can hold them. They can definitely win those defenses. But again, that they really have to make now 6 rounds in a row, and it's just gonna be a very tough one for them if they want to able to win it. They need to win 6 rounds in a row, and even if Lucendi manages to in those their 6 round run manages to get one, it's just gonna end up in a draw. But just we just seen how dominant Lucendi went through them, and I'm honestly, it's gonna be a tough cookie for them to bite on.
Yeah, they might already be looking forward and thinking about how they're going to handle Clubhouse in the best of two, which I don't want to touch on just yet, and we'll give ourselves something to talk about later. But yeah, they're two very different maps, so they can definitely potentially feel like refreshed going into that one. But as you mentioned, fighting for what is likely to be a loss, they could go for a draw if they manage to only lose one round, but a 5-1 split on Coastline, especially on your attacking half, is not promising at all. Some impressive play from Lucendi, though, I have to give it to them, especially Joker and Kixer and Kenoxo? Yeah, Kenoxo.
So
I was trying to remember the name there. Kenoxo doing fantastically well. Each lots of big individual performances round by round. We've seen, I think, very few rounds that have gone Lucendi's way have been, you know, one kill for each op. Like it's been a 3K, a 4K, another 4K, and it's pretty daunting when you come up against a team that has 2 or 3 different players that can all put that kind of performance out when the moment is asked of them. So yeah, definitely watch out for these players if you're coming up against Lucendi in the future. Um, of course, this is quite a big league we've got going here. It's we've got 10 teams going, best of twos throughout the season. Um, we have just had our first Playday on Friday. In case you missed that, go and check out those VODs. There's some interesting matches. And one match after this best of two today. That's going to be UX Gaming versus Revenge. And yeah, so throughout the season, we'll have 9 play days and then playoffs at the end of it. So it's not just a league. We've got what some might call UK Prem style format, where it's a league for the first for the majority of the season, and then we go into these playoffs where the top 6 teams compete against each other in an elimination format. And the top 2 seeds get a bye in the first round. So effectively, it pays to be at the top of the table come those playoffs. We should be coming back into the match very shortly, so do stick around with us. We've still got the second half of this map and the subsequent map, which is Clubhouse, yet to come. So, is there anything you want to highlight in terms of sort of defensive strategy, perhaps, from Lucendi that round, and maybe something to do with like their choice of site as well? We saw a lot of a bit of a rewriting of the rule book in terms of the coastline meta in some ways that round or that half.
um, especially picking kitchen as your first bomb side, um, it's definitely how to say an odd one, because usually you just really go away from that rotation with hookah and then go to kitchen. So picking up your second side as first side, if you want to say it like this, um, really gives you a bit of throw off, because as an attacker, you pretty much expect just what like Timber is doing right now, going hookah first. So therefore, you pretty much prep yourself throughout the beginning and for the drone phase already. for that bomb site that already things are made clear. But if you then discover, okay, they're wrong, you're pretty much throwing away the plan you've made. And then you need to quick readapt them or just set it up again differently. But sometimes it really can happen that you really miss out on your right operators for that site. But with a buck, you pretty much are always have the upper edge because you can first do open up stuff from down below, and you also can open up from up just onto down. So buck in that case is pretty much your key character. He's just gonna be able to go to any side. He's just gonna be perfect for every side, especially on coastline right there. And now, since we saw Lion and Dukebi, Lucendi is doing the trend of coming in with the Jackal.
Yeah, so certainly on coastline, you've got the option of being a lot more flexible with your attacker lineup, and we see that now from a bit a bit of a different approach from Lucendi. They definitely want to bring that addition to the kind of roam clear, or I'd call it like oppressive style of play with the Jackal. And we saw obviously the Nomad, Dokkaebi, Lion fitting into that category for Timber on their attacks. But that's what happens when you have a map where you don't necessarily need that hard breach. It opens up one of those slots. Suddenly you find yourself thinking, oh, maybe we could do with this very, sort of powerful utility instead of needing the Thermite or the Maverick or Hibana. So one thing I'm quite looking forward to, just to sort of go off topic a little bit, is the introduction soon of the secondary hard breach gadget, because that's really going to make it a lot more interesting when it comes to choosing your attack ops. But that's potentially a little bit away in the future at the moment. So anyway, back into this game. We've been talking a while about this sort of meta and everything. Let's just focus in on what's going on right here. We've got a hookah and billiards hold from Timber coming out, and fair amount of lower floor control from Lucendi quite early on as well. Only a minute gone, and it seems most of the defenders have evacuated that floor. So going to be tough for the defense to exert that pressure now vertically, unless they do manage to clear it in the late round and get back underneath.
I mean, Joker right here has pretty much is open to open up everything what he likes to. He's just gonna drone out and see if he's gonna get any surprises out from Sunrise, but doesn't really appear to be, like, as there's nobody there. Kicks are also securing down Sunrise itself.
I think Carl Rolls has been left off the leash here. He's the one that was sort of a bit superfluous to this hold, and he's been sent around to 90, so we could expect potentially to see a flank from him at some point soon, and that Mozzie. Seems that the attackers weren't particularly concerned with the penthouse side of the map, so that could be a bit of an opening if he could sweep through Aqua behind them. He will have to time it quite well, as they are all stacked up in Aqua right now, and the Mozzie is taking his time. He's actually holding in what looks like VIP right now, so a little bit distant from the action.
Kicks are now onto the billiards window. He definitely knows there's somebody behind that bar, but it's just now finally gonna be able to pick it out. That's gonna be Hexagon, that's the smoke. So Plan Denial is pretty much gone right now. It's just from Brainless to hold it, but this plan is gonna get ruined by Qualdog, and Valba at least revenges himself, getting kill on kicks. So Fluff kills Sanoxo, and now it's TJ who kills Valba. So a bit of running going through. Plant is down. Fluff is right now in hookah, trying to do everything what he can. Qualdog's Claymore kills off Carl Roger, and TJ just finishes off with the kill on Fluff. Just in just a few seconds done.
Yeah, that was very efficient by Lucendi, and it puts them on match point now. They've secured their 1 point from this match. Can they make it 3 is the question now. They only need 1, and so far Timber have only been able to stop them once. So yeah, looking very likely that Lucendi are going to seal this out fairly comfortably. That was a bit more tight than they would have wanted potentially, but the cover was definitely there for the plant, and that was the main thing. There was multiple angles being held across from window, from Aqua, And even though they did manage to lose a few of those gunfights, they were immediately traded back off in one way or another. And in that post plant, with a man advantage, you don't expect the attackers to be losing that. It's so easy for them to back out of the building. And as soon as you're outside, you're a lot safer on this map in general. Not saying that runouts aren't a thing, they certainly are here, but Timber haven't been making use of that at all so far, really. It's been quite, well, that round is all we have to go on, but they've been a fairly passive side, at least on their attacks as well. And you don't expect it at the moment, so that gives Lucendi a bit more confidence to play with. They know that they can retreat to the outside, play those long angles in the post plant, and when a Claymore picks up a kill as well in a post plant, you know that you're pretty much done. And yeah, it was just a little bit too slow, I think, on the flank from Carl Roger. He did have that opportunity early in the round. Obviously, not enough intel to support that push, though. Clearly, the intel from the Mozzie, the Valkyrie, the Maestro, not invested widely enough. A camera, for instance, just on lobby, like at the top of lobby stairs, or maybe even in luggage itself, would have really aided that round, potentially, given him that flexibility to move around that side of the map and go for the flank. But it was just a little bit too late to go for that in the end.
We see now almost everyone out of Lucendi right now focusing on that service at the door. And it looks like a push. It looks like a push. DJ already down with the plant. Xenox is in, trying to hold it off. Xenox takes on the first one on Val, but the second one on Exile. She's gonna get shot down by Carl Roger right now here. And it's just snapped plant, and it's just like very big confusion. Joker gets a kill on Fluff as he jumped out right there. Brainless right now doesn't even know what to do. He's just gonna get shut down by Kixa. And it's just down to Carl Roger just trying to kill everyone, get that defuse going, but there's just no way. He just manages able to peek down TJ, but he's right now in a bit of a hurry. Takes down Kixa, gives him a triple kill, and he can't find the fourth on Qualdog, and ending the round and also ending that game. 7-1 for Lucendi with a fairly surprising push right now here in the last round. Really threw off Timber, and Lucendi was able to pick off everyone one by one. Was just down to Carl Roger trying to give the last hope on that round, but sadly though couldn't really excel right here.
Yeah, that was a valiant effort by Carl Roger there. Stats obviously not lining up right now because he had that rehost, but put in a fairly solid display in that last round despite being under the cosh. That shot onto the upside down rappel was pretty impressive, but there was also another player doing that. When you have a double upside down rappel on the post plant, I don't know how you counter that. I mean, he almost found a Vorpay in that, but what we didn't see was really that it was pretty much over at that point. The countdown time was at 12 seconds. He would have had to kill the IQ in the bathroom, and then also managed to get back to the diffuser and kill the last attacker to even have a hope there. So pretty much over for him despite that rally. But that's gonna be us for the moment. We have a short break for the time being between maps. Let the players and let yourselves at home go and get a drink, go refresh, and get ready for the next matchup. So I think we'll be throwing to a break screen fairly soon. And yeah, so that will be it for the moment from me and Cyril. We'll be back with you very soon. game we have between Timber and Lucendi. I'm Jerry the Music Man. This is Tyrell. Would you want to introduce yourself for anyone that's just popped by?
Hi, I'm Tiro. Um,
Tyrell.
Tiro, Tyrell, whatever.
Whichever. Yeah.
People tend to go for Tyrell, but it's theoretically correct. It's Tiro, but it doesn't matter because what matter is the gameplay we're gonna see, and it's gonna be the second map between Timber and Lucendi, and we just came off a quite a really dominant game from Lucendi on coastline right there. And now it's for Timber really the chance to redeem themselves on Clubhouse. And we've, I mean, personally, I'm not really sure what to think of because seeing that dominance of coastline from Lucendi, is it going to be able to transfer also into Clubhouse, or is Timber actually going to get a hold of themselves basically and just going to show Lucendi that whatever coastline was just a massive fluke and they're ready to kick ass, no problem.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, we've seen already this season, I mentioned earlier, a 7-1 go in the direction of Pats Asleep, who are ex-Demise. So previously pushing for a Challenger League spot. They're a team that are pipped to kind of go quite far in this league on some people's expectations. And then in the second map, they completely turned off, and it was London esports all the way. And that was going from coastline to cafe. So we could see something similar here. We have seen another 7-1 sweep on coastline, going the way of the team that is expected to do quite well in Lucendi. If the community poll is anything to go by, especially, it was 82%, in case you missed that back earlier, in favor of Lucendi. And I'm thinking right here that Timber might take a page out of London's books. They clearly have their setups. We didn't see so much of it because they were defending second in that game. But that was something that really favoured London in their game against Pats Asleep, was this much less frag oriented map. Obviously, going away from coastline to anywhere, it's going to be a bit more strat heavy and defender sided potentially. But yeah, so it could just look like a completely different set of teams. Or we could see Lucendi just prove their worth. Perhaps it will be a closer game than Coastline will, but they might win it out in the end regardless. So yeah, there's lots of possibilities here. I wouldn't take that last map as an indication of these two teams squaring up against each other just yet. That's what these best of twos are for. So looks like we're almost ready to get going on the map. Yep, and that's it. We're going to be heading into Clubhouse for our second best of two between these two teams, Timber and Lucendi.
Clubhouse, I have to say, a very well-liked map in the Benelux, seeing that Season 4 had such a shit dominance of this map. It's just like every day you've seen a match on there. And the first ban from Timber is coming out, and this will be a Capital ban, something we see quite regularly. Nothing too special right down there. But I'm rather interested to see if Lucendi is just gonna follow up with a Maverick ban, or are they able maybe to ban someone else? And as expected, Maverick is banned.
Yeah, these two are almost always your favorites for the ban phase on Clubhouse. They completely, they feel like different ops on Clubhouse in particular. Capital makes the cash defense just so difficult for defenders. And when you want to take that as your primary bomb site, often it's definitely a good thing to have him gone. Maverick as well, so much more of an option in terms of hard breach for this map because of those exposed outer walls and numerous hatches as well for the basement defense. So he's definitely one that you want rid of if you want a defender-sided map. And the final two bans, Mirror and Echo, also not worth mentioning too much. It was exactly what we saw on Coastline, just transferred over here. Echo definitely pushing up in terms of ban rate over Maestro. We used to see those two kind of duke it out, but post Alder nerf, I've seen way more Echo be banned out in the ban phase. He's just so much more difficult to deal with. You pretty much have to bring an IQ to get rid of that thing. The yokais.
They're just annoying.
They are. They're very annoying.
It's just either you take an IQ to spot them out and shoot them out, or by just the look of a Thatcher EMP that they're gonna get disabled, they're just gonna fall down when you shoot them. But honestly, to face off against Echo, he's a really hard anchor. He has a very strong gun with an ACOG equip, and his gadget is just perfect for any plant denial. It's just nice really to get him out of there. But same again, Maestro, I mean, he lost his ACOG now, but did it really affect his pick, pretty much his pick rate? Did it affect really the ban rate of him? I wouldn't say very much, but because he is still one of really, I'd say one of the strongest anchor in that game, just being able to, first of all, lay down 80 rounds of lead into any enemy, having the able to do the ability just to make rotations, and having his little evil eyes, which are just, first of all, you really need to get, not really that easy to get rid of, as they're bulletproof, so you have to trick him into just opening to a half. There again, Thatcher and Twitch are really the prime tools for there, and otherwise you just need some explosive or just a sledgehammer to get rid of them. But sometimes they're in positions you can't really reach, or the ADS are helping you out there.
Yeah, it looks as though we've got basically a total defense here on the side of Timber, who are going to be starting on the defensive side. So the first minute or so, we expected this round is just going to be Lucendi going to be clearing out the top two floors, making sure they don't have anything to worry about behind them or above them. And a fairly efficient one as we get into the second minute of the round, and looks like this push is going to be a fairly split one. We've got Fluff playing back here behind this unit with a couple of ADSs to his name, and that's going to really aid him in that hold, especially against the Sophia, who could chuck a load of stuns his way. It's going to be opening up that long angle that gives him sightline to the back of the church, which is quite a helpful one once this player is cleared out. But, ooh, just whiffing, almost hitting the shot there, but Fluff quicker to react, and unfortunate timing, I guess, from Kixer to not find that headshot onto the Ella, but a clean fight there for the Ella, and it's not often you see an Ella being brought in general, but she can definitely hold down that blue tunnel area quite effectively with those Gushmont mines and the Scorpion.
I mean, really like to see that Ella, especially since she has such a strong gun, and there are many situations where you pretty much need to have a good gun to hold a certain position. And I'm, how to say, since it's kind of like became a bit rare, I'm kind of like happy to see not an SSG setup from Timber. Because
coming through though here, and this is going to be a very quick plant from Quoldog, but the Evil Eye is in place to deny this, and he attempts to stick it a second time. Doesn't look like he's going to get that in time, and TJ meanwhile trading off a couple of kills from Timber. Now it's just TJ and Quoldog in this very tough 2 versus 4 situation. The plant is not going to be able to be stuck here, as they've got so much to worry about here. TJ actually pushing up main, could find 1 or 2, but he loses the gunfight against the Jaeger, traded off by Brainless in fact, and Brainless going to capitalize on that with the double kill, finding Quoldog as he goes down at the far end of Armory. So yeah, sorry to cut you off there. It was a bit of a quick execute from Lucendi that they were hoping to catch Timper off guard, really, and it didn't work for them at all.
in a situation like this, if I would be Quolog, I would just stick it regardless of the Maestro zapping me, because if you're on full HP, you should be able to tank everything. It's just gonna be a pain in the butt if you're just standing there with just 5 HP left, but again, it's something you really have to be committed to do so. If you just back out very quickly, you're just not going to be able to pull it through, because then you really have to need to get rid of that evil eye. And in the situation of Lucendi right now, there wasn't really a good way to do so.
Yeah, they had the Thatcher up at the very end, and part of me is wondering if they perhaps didn't drone out the site effectively enough to get the knowledge of that evil eye, because that was more of a damaging presence for Lucendi than most of the actual operators on the defensive side. They couldn't stick that diffuser. They had all of their locations completely known as soon as they went for that drop, and really, if it had been droned out effectively, or at least communicated effectively, that location of the evil eye, then the EMP, even in the 2 versus 4, something could have been done about the the evil eye. You could have rolled that EMP in kitchen, and it would have been in range of the camera. So then that would just leave it up to the thermite to shoot it out and go for a second attempt at the plant. But yeah, definitely not enough preparation being done there by Lucendi for that push. Obviously, going man down early on doesn't help you, but you've got to be able to adjust accordingly, and I don't think it was done effectively there by the attacker.
Xenoxo opening up garage to get that angle under that window. If you're gonna jump onto catwalk there, Joker already taking control of that storage, but Fluff pretty much sits into a slight sandwich right there, because he has that Joker right next to him, but he's also gonna get slightly endangered here by Kixay, who might be able to push up, but Joker's trying to look for him, but he's not gonna be able to find him as he rotated back up again on red. And Fluff holding down that angle very sharp. And we see the breach opening up as Axel just took the wrong wall. So breach is open. Now it's time for Lucendi really to clear out catwalk and able to go for a plant there. And Joker just throws the nade onto Baba right from down below. Kills him off. Wow.
Yeah, that was a good toss there from the buck of Joker. But you did mention, of course, this catwalk position so crucial in these cache defenses, and Xenoxo's opened up a little entryway beneath, so they can apply some pressure that direction, but most of the gunfights are going to be taken from that doorway. It looks like Xenoxo actually punishing Carl Roger there, who was, I believe, dropped down? That was a bit of an odd one from the dock, and punished
he jumped down
accordingly there. So Cordo going to be picking up a second onto Brainless as well, and that's just smoke gone. Suddenly you're just left with the 2 GSG9 operators on site, and Pix is going to find one of those. Fluff has it all to do in 1 versus 5. He finds the first kill on to Kixer, but Coldor's going to be sticking the diffuser, and it does go down successfully. His task just got a lot harder, and now it's impossible as TJ finds that kill in the post plant, and a very convincing round from Lucendi as they even out the scoreline. It's now 1-1.
Quite interesting from Carl Rosa just to trying to jump down and get the kill on Xenoxo, because he sits in a position onto catwalk with the ADS just where you pretty much you have to push him up, where he has to stay really as passive as he can, really play really on the defense side, but just...
Yeah. I mean, that's why you bring the dock, right? Because he can spin himself up. He can take a couple of shots here and there, but instead he got a bit greedy, I think.
He has the ACOG to back it up. He is free armor. He can stim him up. He's got an ADS to protect himself, but he pretty much gave away the round right there, because with the control of catwalk and the breach open CCTV, it's just to walk in and go plant, because the rest you just can hold up from these 2 positions.
So it looked as though there was kind of 2 elements to the stalling from Timber there. They had the wall denial, which didn't work out for them. XL not landing the, not placing the charge in the right location to deny the exothermic charge, and that just meant that the timer was really against Timber for the rest of that round. Obviously, you can maybe understand why the dock jumped down to try and kind of even things out. You've got to make some sort of play, but really, I think that it wasn't the play in that situation, as we mentioned. And bringing the Jaeger and the Wamai another sort of layer to that defense, but they didn't factor in that much because basically Timber just decided to take too many of the fights. They didn't bait out the utility enough from Lucendi, and it just ended up being a case where Lucendi had the man advantage, so they didn't need to throw anything in. They just pushed in with the guns and got the fights won anyway. And so we are seeing a bit of an adjustment here as now we have the mute being brought by Brainless and the Kaid on Valva. So three different ways if you count the jammers of denying any breaching.
Joker successfully already taken care. He just already has the control out of stock room. Lounge is getting droned off for him, and seems to be clear as there's nobody right on there. So for him, it's just, again, will you just be able to take down one of the players right now from Timber with a grenade from down below, or is he just gonna open up? And Lucendi again manages to open up that breach. Gotta ask a bit, Exile, can you ban the trick?
Well, he was definitely under a lot of pressure from beneath. That was good positioning and good utility usage by Kixer to open up the floor. And he was holding an angle from inside of Secret. And Kixer's going to find Exile as well, completely outplaying the Bandit, both in terms of utility and gunplay this round. He's winning that duel for sure. And yeah, Exile was left with not much option, but you could have potentially had the pocket Electro Claw to help you with that. And clearly, it's something that they decided to invest on the garage instead. Carl Roger going to be playing a bit more passive this round, though, so that could help them out as he's still in a good position to try and deny this entry from in garage. Steaming himself back up again. Flashes come out, and he does get full blinded by the second one, but the peak isn't going to come through. Joker, though, finding a kill onto Valba. That's the Buck managing to get Kaid down. And the shots coming out from TJ, almost finding Carl Roger, but he's escaping with enough health there. And finally, TJ getting that one. Again, a 2 versus 5. Lucendi looking so dominant on these attacks. Fluff gonna, once again, pad the stats a little bit and find Kixer. But Brainless and Fluff now, again, in a 1 versus 4 again. Fluff, can you do it 2 times in a row? He would have to get the ace clutch once again. It's too much to ask for him. And Joker is there with the Buck, playing studiously in stock, as expected. Lucendi just, they really know how to attack cash, it would seem.
It does. This time Carl Roger was playing way more defensively, but he still tried to go for the peaks. But then again, Lucendi managed to really get a lot of angle onto him. Therefore, not really able to escape. Really have to fight for his life in there, and came really close on killing TJ, but just had to pay with his life right down there. And Timber seems to, well, I'm just gonna be interested to see an SSG strat coming up, as the lineup would be there and the 6 picks from Jaeger to Vigil comes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna see the SSG strat from Timber right down here. And Xenoxa decides to pick Ash instead of Tibana.
So that's clearly an adjustment that they've made based on the lineup of Timber. They can see that because that Mozzie, Mute, Vigil, and Castle all being brought by Timber, it's a completely telegraphed thing these days to know that that means the defense aren't going to be playing, as you mentioned, this SSG strat. In case you're new to the game, SSG strat basically involves holding the bottom floor by holding the top floor. So you allow your attackers to slowly drone you out, and slowly you fall back to sight, maybe getting a pick or 2 along the way. These castle barricades on the middle floor assist that by cutting off the rotations for attackers, and means that it's easier for Timber to fall back. Although perhaps that one between the 2 halves of bar might be a bit difficult, because you've got you've got fewer options. If you fall down this construction hatch, you'd have to pull down the castle barricade to get down into Moto again. But basically, the attacker adjustment is that Tibana isn't needed because the hatches are open for you. But it looks like we're seeing the counter to this strat, which is just to ignore the top floor. And everyone's going to be pushing through blue, all the attackers, and this is the call from the Legion. He's got to be calling for reinforcements now. So Noxu finding Carl Roger on that push. And now the attackers have complete control of site. And this is the shortcoming of this defense. Fluff gonna find one onto Joker, and Valba has been down. Hordlord gets the plant down. And this is not looking great for the defense.
Not very well indeed, as Kixer right now takes down Exile as well. Fluff is gonna revenge himself by killing TJ, and we just see Fluff and Valba pretty much stuck right now at utility, but now we're able to move out as on the second box, and Noxo picks up Fluff. It's now down to Brainless and Valba trying to take it. Brainless trying to go for push, and we just end up with 2 kills from him right now, and it's a 1v1. And he's gonna lose it out onto Coldog, but this form of strat, especially the SSG one, it's just literally made for you. If you want to drone upstairs, it's just gonna be a nightmare to do so. And the easiest counter is just to ignore it and just go straight for a side rush, as we just seen from Lucendi. But they came out not really as dominant as they would have, because Timber really laid down on the frags. It was really down to 1v1 at the end. But it seems that they are confident enough to try to strat again.
Yeah, Brainless was almost the deciding factor there with a really impressive couple of kills near the end. That final kill just evading him despite it being slightly too late on the timer anyway. But yeah, a good attempt by the Mozzie to try and regain that site. But yeah, it's something that a lot of teams just see. They think, oh yeah, we can do this strategy. Let's try it out. But they don't think about how it's going to be countered. And I've seen that particular push so often where teams just say, okay, they're playing the SSG strat, let's push blue. Or let's push kitchen. Just open it up and drop and go through and clear out the site. Because if they've only got 1 person or 2 people on site, you can afford to trade a few. As long as you get the site control, it's such a defendable area. I mean, that's why we see defenses quite under the meta on this map for so long, being to turtle up on it. If you offer that ground for the attackers, they have the advantage. So you've got to be very quick on the retakes, and Timber hopefully will be just that this time round. But I can't imagine that Lucendi are going to be going for the same kind of rush strat this time round. It looks as though it's going to be more focused on a kitchen and tunnel take instead. Exile as well playing slightly closer to home, expecting that deliberate quick push from Lucendi. Coldog and Joker just pushing up into tunnel, but they do have their numbers red here, as we have drone. Oh, was that not spotted by Valba? I'd have thought he'd have seen that, but maybe not.
Opening up right now to the whole Arsenal room, that door, and we see Brainless on the red stairs, but Kixer and TJ taking down control onto blue.
Whoa.
Whoa!
That all happened at once. So,
That all
it's 2
happened
versus 5. It's a 1 versus 5, and that's almost it. Brainless now has the 1v5 clutch, and he can't do it. What?
What?
I looked down at my notepad for like a split second, and it was a 2 versus 5. Okay, so Lucendi putting together 4 rounds in a row.
Ransomerization. Xenoxo picks up 3 kills his ass, Joker gets a grenade kill and finishes off the last one. Done. Done in 5 seconds.
I mean, that's the Ash play for you. I get that's why you take Ash instead of Hibana. It makes sense.
This is the definition of a LATAM round. 1 person rolls the stone and everything goes down.
Yeah. Wow, that was a quick one. And now, understandably, Timber going to be giving up on the basement defense. They're going up to Jim, hoping that this will be a slightly better location for them. But so far, they've just been completely walked over by Lucendi. I did say between the maps that we might see a completely different side in Timber and in Lucendi coming to this map where it's slightly more kind of laid out, I guess, more set in stone what the teams have been going to have to set up, like what utility you have to bring. But it seems on either side of the coin, Lucendi are the better team at the moment, and we have only to see Timber try out on attack after this round to really get the full judgment of that. Perhaps they are a very good attacking team on Clubhouse, but at this point, we're clutching at straws. You know, Timber just don't look up to the challenge right here.
Me personally, from experience, Clubhouse winning your defenses are pretty much which makes the round. And even if it would go down 2-4 for Timber in attack, it's really gonna be tough. I mean, bit of a paradox because Timber starts on attack first on coastline, a really attacker-sided map, and then they start on defense and Clubhouse also defender-sided, but they just don't seem really to get the connect on.
Yeah, I mean, Valbert getting that bandit trick on one set of X-Kairos, it's a little bonus, but he has to back away all the way to site now. He's been forced out of office and construction completely, so those bandit tricks not going to work out. And of course, this is the more important wall, really, and it's been completely opened up now by Coldog. So Jacuzzi entrance, an option for the attackers, and with only 45 seconds left, gone rather, from the round, that's a very efficient clear of this area and a very efficient opening of that wall.
I mean, we're down onto 2 minutes, and that for the Courier Shield is now gone. In that hallway, we see Kiksa picking up the first kill onto Fluff. It's really, really tight. I mean, Lucendi really playing as efficient as they can. Pollock's already onto Jim on the side, not trying to expose himself too much, but we see Brainless in there. Pollock picks him up, therefore denying it. The plant is going down. Valva makes the rotation to clear out Kixax, and Noxo revenges him to kill Axel. Karoja takes down Qualdog, and we're now in a 2v3, and we're in an after plant situation. Valva takes down the kill on Xenoxo. So we're now on 2 versus 2, and it's not really much time left on the clock on the diffuser right down there. Valva tries to go for jumper, try to see if he can able to pick that one up, but doesn't able to find as Joker is right now in the corner. Rocha is trying to defuse. Valva kills Joker, therefore.
Oh my god, he has enough time. He might have done it. Is this it? I think he's done it, yeah. What a catch from Carl Roger. Oh my god, Timber. How did you win that?
Oh my god. I mean, Valva killing off right there Joker pretty much saved Carl Roger, because if Joker would have just gotten the kill on Carl Roger, it would have been dead end.
Yeah, I mean, getting into sight with both defenders, as soon as that happened, I thought, oh, they could win this. That's actually possible with the with enough cover and good enough cover on the diffuser or the diffuse disabler, which is exactly what we saw from the bandit. Then it's possible, and he did that. He managed to get the frag on the buck, and then very smart timing on the diffuse from the Valkyrie to actually pop off and get the final attacker. And the timing was so close. Like, I couldn't check. I couldn't move my eyes fast enough between the two timers on the screen to tell whether it was possible or not. But it looked like it was, and that was a close one. So Timber actually managing to make their first half scoreline somewhat respectable, 4-2. On your defensive half, it could be better. Definitely.
It could be way better, but again,
especially after that kind of win, though, like that's going to affect your mental game, and perhaps they're going to be a bit better coming into the attack, and maybe Lucendi, that could tilt them a little bit. I think that's all they've got going for them right now.
Lucendi right now giving 4 attack rounds, winning them. It's definitely giving them a good jump forward. However, maybe we now see Timber really start to get the dice rolling, because see how close the round was, and even that Timber managed to get, I guess, two or three rounds actually to really come down really to 1v1 in the very close one. I think Timber is really starting to move forward, but can they move forward quick enough against Lucendi to either secure a win against them or to secure a draw?
Well, let's see if they can do just that. We've got Timber now on the attack, and Qualzdog hoping to do a bit of a better job of this bandit tricking, but a well-timed EMP is actually not going to work, and already an exothermic charge dealt with very efficiently by Qualzdog. No pressure from the window or from underneath by Fluff, and this is not the position that you want your Zofia to be in for the breach. But the wall does get open. However, Kixer managing to find a kill onto Exile downstairs, and that's the Buck gone, and your frag grenades off the board. So a lot of security now for the defenders in that cache site, if not the server itself.
Indeed, and we're just right now seeing Timber trying to get a clear out on Catwalk, as again, with the breach open on CCTV, you need to have control of that Catwalk, and having someone playing in there, you're not going to be able to get him off that easily. He's Carl Roger trying to bait out, but doesn't seem to connect to even any attention was being given.
Oh,
Joker, what
nice
was that angle?
I don't even think that was opened up. I think that was just a good call. It didn't look like it had been softened. So am I just playing into that knowledge? Carl Roger being downed as well by Joker. He's doing a brilliant job on this catwalk, and Qualbug runs out and gets a double kill. Brainless now left in a 1 versus 5, as he has been so many times this game already, but now it's on the attack. Looks like he's contemplating suicide. He almost edged off the end there, but
If
no,
I would be brainless right now, I would just, I think this is what he's doing right now. Just really use that 1 minute, waste that time for your team to go through and say like, okay, this is what we're doing wrong, this is what we need to be doing. But Brainless seems to be trying to go for a little kill spree as he picks out the first kill on Bulldog. But then again, last 30 seconds, is he gonna be able to just make the ace and clutch it out? Successfully flashes one of the players from Lucendi, but manages to flash us himself as well to a degree, but everyone knows he's there. He manages to pick up Xenoxa, but just no chance. Joker finished him off.
Yeah, that was a strong round from the Wamai on Catwalk. He influenced all of that entire side of the map pretty much. He got a kill outside of Garage into that final kill as the player came through the breach, and also a kill into Lounge. So you can see quite how important the Catwalk position is just from that one round. If you want to go learn something about the game, that is the one to watch, basically. The only extra thing I can think of is that from that position you can also deny construction push, but that didn't happen, and Timber losing all of their bodies pretty much outside the building. There was the Buck got in and the Zofia got in, but everyone else barely managed to set foot inside, and it was that run out from who is it, Qualdog? Yeah, on the Bandit that just sealed the win really for them. And yeah, this is not looking great for Timber. I've got to be honest. It's been a pretty rough best of 2 for them so far. I think whatever happens after this Playday, they can't let this affect them. I think Lucendi have shown themselves to be a very good side, and perhaps just maybe a little bit more homework to be done on your opposing sides, knowing how they set up, knowing what to bring. There are a few things that seem a little lackluster, and it seems as though Lucendi have basically kind of read into a lot of the holds by Timber much more effectively than Timber have been reading into Lucendi.
I mean, just the sheer dominance that Lucendi is right now showing it's really hard to go up against. But then again, Timber really had those rounds where it really was down to 1v1 and really taking really a very close one, but it's just they can't really seem to get really step the foot on as they would want to. I mean, it goes better, but you come off from like such a clutch they've just done on Jim, and then getting annihilated completely the next round. It's just how are you gonna cope with that situation?
It was almost a flawless round from Lucendi as well. It was very close to being a flawless round. If you discount that the final kill, it was basically a 1v4 that he lost in. So I think what we're seeing from Lucendi now, the basement defense, which we haven't seen from them yet, and they've got this Goyo being brought out, and it's denying these long hallways, which is part of the strength of Goyo, definitely, to block off the long avenues and make the attackers have to wonder, is there someone either playing behind that or at a distance or what have you, and also having to burn them out. It takes utility and it's costly for the attackers. So those long hallways basically having almost like gas canisters detonated on them at certain points for a whole 10 seconds or so of denial. It just makes you sit more comfortably as a defender.
Yeah, popping off that shot gives you extra 10 seconds, and if someone dares to walk through that, you're not gonna be really standing up straight after this.
No,
but
definitely not.
Seeing right now here, get Timber really prepping everything up to open up the wall for TJ's, and Pollock just picks up his first C4 kill on Exile, as he's just gonna get blown out of kitchen.
Doesn't look like it's going to be a successful impact trick. No, there is. So a good move there from Xenoxu, I think it was, on the Legion to clear that first set of X-Kairos. And he could do it again. Yes, he has. And there's absolutely nothing denying this from Timber. They're just not supporting the breach enough. But he does manage to get a whiff of leg. It's not enough, though. Xenoxu knocked down onto half HP. And utility-wise, I say the attackers have pretty much lost this round already. They're going to have to rely on these frags, and that's exactly how you want to start it off. Brainless finding one, and a third successful impact trick on the kitchen hatch. That's no longer an option. Timber going to have to resort to flat pushes down main stairs. They're going to go for that moto drop as well. Everyone pushing different directions at once. Pixar finds one on Fluff in blue. Legion Mine slowing down the attack constantly. Only 5 seconds left. Valber not carrying the diffuser, brainless, but he gets his head taken off. He is brainless now. Carl Roger running in. Last attacker can't be taken down. Timer wins it out for Lucendi. And that was basically one off of utility. We saw so much. I would say it was effective impact tricking, but really it was the fact that it was done with very little support from the attack. There's no one holding any angle on through the floor to deny the position that the defenders could take up to go for the impact trick. There's no pressure present from Dirt or from Blue. They still hadn't cleared out Blue, so the defenders could quite easily be moving around inside of Armory. And yeah, it just meant that in the final 20 seconds, when you don't have that kitchen drop open, and that's been what you've been going for so long, you devoted 3 X-Kairos and a exothermic charge to it. It just didn't work out for them. They probably could have used that elsewhere. We also saw like a distinct lack of aggression from Timber. There were so many flashes going out. There was a good like 10 seconds where I think we saw maybe 4 or 5 flashes and stuns go out from Timber, and none of it was followed up on. So then what do? You basically spent most of your gadgetry in about 10 seconds, and when it comes to the push, when you actually want to go for those kills, you've got nothing to do it with. You know, you're just taking fights. And in this game, defenders have that advantage. They can be holding the angles, they can be using their superior intel. So yeah, it's there were all sorts of flaws, I think, with that attack. And Lucendi have basically secured their point for this match. They look to push this into a win and collect all 6 for the day.
Very well indeed, and I think if we come back to the poll, how much people were giving in faith into Lucendi, I think we're pretty much seeing right now the result of it. Is I think Timber is able to really match up against Lucendi, but they're just missing that slight aggression, maybe that one kill on one specific person to really secure their rounds, but it's just not really going anywhere. Joker actively defending his jacuzzi wall right there, but he's not going to be able to do so, as Velva just manages to blow it up. Oh. And Velva also takes him out!
Wow. That's not good. So, Timber actually having an advantage in this round now, it would look like, which is great for them. They definitely need something. And yeah, that was an ill-advised reinforcement from the Kaid.
I mean, that reinforcement should then go up. He just came way too late, and Bawi just instantly pre-fired it and just manages to delete him, Joker down there. But ay. Well,
Yeah.
Timber has no real advantage, but Kixo is trying to fend up everything what he can right now in that cash room, and as we see from Xenoxo picking up Exa with an impact.
Kix has managed to retreat as well, so that's pretty impressive stuff from this hold from Timber. Hold from Lucendi. They did lose Joker early on, but things looking up a bit now. Exile is gone. Oh, a great shot from Kixer, finding the head of Carl Roger, but immediately traded out by Brainless on Habana. That was a 3 versus 3. So obviously still sitting on about 1 HP, I would say. And Fluff also on about 30. So 2 low HP players on both sides. Diffuser's been left. Oh no, that's not too far from Brainless. Brainless will be able to pick that up quite easily as soon as he's cleared it out. Looks like it's a construction push coming from Timber. Bit of pressure being applied on these south windows from Thermite of Valba, but 36 seconds left, and you've still got the C4 in the hands of TJ and all the guns of the defense. This is looking like Lucendi could see this one out. TJ finding 1, finding 2. Big double kill with that pumped shotgun. And now it's all up to Valba to try and keep Timber's hopes alive in this best of 2. He's got 15 seconds or so, only 3 to find. One of them's very low, but that is it. Xenoxo going to be sitting it out with a clean headshot to Valba, and that is GG's all round, and a very convincing 7-1-7-2 in favor of Lucendi.
An absolute blast from Lucendi we've just seen. Holy moly.
Yeah, that was a bit of a whitewash. 3 rounds in total picked up by Timber, so at least on Coast and Club, they're going to be looking to go back to the drawing board. Pretty big performance from Brainless despite the loss. They're picking up 9 frags for his team, but you can't be relying purely on his performance for Timber to push them to wins. I think we're going to have a quick look at the poll just see. Yeah, obviously that ended with 82% in favour of Lucendi. That was pretty accurate, wouldn't you say?